I used to think tomorrow was my friend. I thought tomorrow would save me. Tomorrow, I'd start. Tomorrow, I'd change. Tomorrow, I'd finally become somebody I wanted to be. But every tomorrow looked exactly the same, like today. The same fears, the same excuses, the same reasons to move on. And I didn't realize it at the time. That I wasn't using tomorrow as a plan. I was using it as a hiding place. If something felt uncomfortable, tomorrow. If I was afraid to fail, tomorrow. If I simply wasn't ready, tomorrow. Maybe you've done that too. Maybe there's something you've been giving to tomorrow. A goal, a dream, a first step, a conversation. And every time it comes to mind, you tell yourself, I'll get to it tomorrow. Can I ask you something? What are you giving to tomorrow? Seriously. What's the one thing you've been telling yourself you will eventually do? Maybe leave it in the comments. Maybe don't. But at least be honest with yourself. Because I think all of us already know the answer. We just don't always like it. For a long time, I thought my problem was procrastination. I thought the answer was discipline. I thought if I could just force myself harder, everything would change. But the truth was deeper than that. Tomorrow wasn't the problem. Tomorrow was protecting me from something. Sometimes it was protecting me from failure. Sometimes it was protecting me from rejection. Sometimes it was protecting me from finding out whether I was actually capable of more than I realized. And that's the scary thing. Because as long as I kept everything for tomorrow, I never had to find out. I never had to risk being wrong. I never had to risk failing. Never had to risk succeeding either. That one hit me hard. Because sometimes you're not just afraid of failure. Sometimes we're afraid of what happens if we become the person we said we wanted to be. That's one reason I created the Voice Back Journal. Not because journaling fixes everything. It doesn't. But it gives me a place to slow down. a place to separate what I was feeling from what was true. Because sometimes a thought sits in your head way too long. It eventually starts sounding like the truth. And writing down helped me to change that. If that's something you're struggling with, the link is below. The Voice Back Journal is free. And here's what I finally realized. Tomorrow is not the enemy. Tomorrow is just a day. The real question is, am I using tomorrow as a plan or a hiding place? Because those are two very different things. A plan says, I'm going to do this tomorrow. A hiding place says, I hope tomorrow saves it from doing it today. I spent years hoping, or I spent years hoping tomorrow would save me. It never did. What changed my life wasn't tomorrow. It was one step today. Not 10, not 100. And maybe that's where rebuilding starts. Not with a massive transformation, not with perfect discipline, not with becoming someone new overnight, but with one honest step. Today, one day at a time, one day stronger. I used to think tomorrow was my friend. Maybe tomorrow was never my friend. Maybe it was just my hiding place.